It's interesting to look back and realize that all my life I've been telling stories. From the time I was very young, I was always making up stories. I was telling them to people, my siblings, my parents, and I would write them down. I have memories of writing books as a young child and presenting them to my mom, and of course she thought they were brilliant. But as I got older and got more involved in school and activities by high school and definitely by college, I really had put aside all of my creative pursuits. I applied to medical school, went to medical school, started residency, and my specialty in my residency, I worked with a lot of people with brain injuries, and I had multiple thoughts about a story in which someone had a brain injury and they were recovering from it and had some secrets. And this story kind of nagged at me for a long time. So one day I remember sitting down with a laptop, my daughter was taking a nap, and I just started writing the first chapter. And what's interesting is that first chapter that I wrote, which this was years ago, is very similar to the second chapter in Imposter. So it's interesting how things come full circle, because I didn't write Imposter for several years after that event. The book explores a really rare neurological condition called Capgras syndrome. And Capgras syndrome is a syndrome in which the person affected believes that their loved one has been replaced by an identical looking imposter. Hence the name Imposter for the book. I decided to have the central relationship in the book be about sisters, because sisters have such a unique and complicated relationship, and they can be very close, but there's also a lot of complications that can be wrapped up in this, from the way you were raised, if your parents were absent or not, the different roles that you each played in the family. And in this case, the two sisters have not been close for quite some time. So there was a lot to explore. It's like exploring two different sides of my brain. So at work, I get to be really analytical, and I get to be very outward focused. I talk to patients, I talk to family members, I teach medical students and residents. So I spend a lot of time talking to other people, sharing knowledge with them, counseling my patients, that type of thing. And to be honest, even though I love it, it is quite draining. And one thing that's really nice about writing is that it is totally different from the type of skills that I use at work. And it's a chance for me to really sink deep into my own imagination and think about plots and characters and just sort of sink into another world that I get to be completely in control of.